Should I or should I not? I'll do it.
Fire!
What's up, you guys? Chet the Dream Poet here, coming to you all with another fun-filled vlog here in the state of Florida. Time to anchor down for another video. And today, guys, we are here at Fort Caroline. Y'all are probably wondering, how many forts are in the state of Florida, Chet, other than the Castillo de San Marcos? Well, this fort is a little bit different. You see, Fort Caroline started out as a French fortification. Yes, in 1564, France, in order to seek refuge from the Catholic Church, their Huguenots, if you will, they moved to a little spot in what would become North Florida. Yes, this fledgling little colony, Fort Caroline, it was doing halfway decent until the Spaniards, Pedro Menendez, down in St. Augustine, just a few miles south, found out that the French were here. And he burned this entire fort to the ground. So this isn't so much of a actual fort, this is actually a recreation, but a lot of fascinating history and definitely another side to Florida that people don't see. So we're gonna go inside, we're gonna check it out. Let's do it, you guys. Time to anchor down. Yes, you guys, before we check out the fort, we are going to check out the visitor center. As you can see, there's a really beautiful mural here. So let's check this place out real quick. Right here kind of tells a little bit about how wetlands work. Bit of a diorama there. And, well, of course, this kind of looks like, well, oh yes, shells. Oyster shells, to be exact. Yes, these do make up a majority of the seabed of the Intercoastal Waterway. Again, telling about living in nature. It's a pretty giant rock. And here is a diorama of the, well, Timucuan Indians. Kind of some, well, recreations of what the people in this area did back then. Making baskets, using fishing tools. I know we've seen a hoe like that over at over the Port Orange Lighthouse. So it looks like people use conch for a lot of things. Nifty. And least we not forget, they have a giant canoe. From what I'm reading in this diorama here, this actually, I don't even, well, this one actually might be a recreation. This one, if it is real, dates back to about 500 years. They're telling how many months of time went in to making that. And this is some of the various artifacts that have been found here on the site. We're in the general area. Even have a shell pendant. And here we have another giant owl totem. Kind of similar to the one we saw over at the Fountain of Youth. And here we have a French, well no, pardon me, a Spanish recreation of some of their helmet, their armor. Yes, you gotta think Pedro Menendez's men coming up to Fort Caroline to burn this place to the ground. This is what they wore, and you gotta think the hot Florida sun wearing these hot metal pieces of armor. That's gotta be horrible. Okay, now that was a rather interesting exhibit, or very small museum. Very interesting. Almost in a way it felt like a very, very small version of the Castillo de San Marcos. But let's get to the fort. Right this way. Well, what do we have here? It looks like this is a Timucuan, well, village recreation. Or a few buildings at least. This kind of talks about the relations between the Timucuans and the French. Dude, look. It's a, maybe I can. Nah, he disappeared. And it looks like there is another description of the dugout canoes. It was a primary way of travel along the rivers with the Timucuans. And it looks like we have another recreation right here. Doesn't exactly look finished though. Again, you only gotta imagine how many man hours went into making one of those. You gotta think that they would have to cut the tree down, then start burning it, cutting in half, followed by a repetition that would start for, well, would only continuously go for months. And it looks like there is a oyster mound right here, right beside this building. In a way, if you ask me, this kind of reminds me of, well, one of the meeting houses of the Eastern Band of the Cherokee Nation. Yes, if you all don't know, I've said it in a couple of videos before, I'm originally from the state of Tennessee. If you haven't seen my other videos, of course, but maybe my inner Tennessee is just talking. But let's go inside this thing, shall we? Oh, now this is really, really cool. Again, this thing really retains a lot of sound. I'm not sure if anybody can pick up on that. But that's interesting. And well, this one just looks like a regular. Maybe this was a storage building. No, actually, that doesn't make much sense. But maybe another dwelling for the Timucuans. So let's go to the recreation of Fort Caroline. Well, looks like we have a cluster of bark rangers. I like the pun on words, it's rather humorous. But they do have one of my favorite types of dogs. A corgi. Yes, mark my words. One day I will get a corgi. Well, finally, after a pretty long, decent walk, we have come to the outskirts of Fort Caroline. But this kind of tells a little bit of its history. Yes, this fort was constructed in 1964, or the recreation of this fort, some 400 years later. And there is a good reason why they built the oven right outside the gate. And that is because they did not want to set off a fire caused by the oven igniting the magazine, and therefore ending a newfound colonization. But it was the Spaniards who got a hold of them first. So without further ado, we are going to enter the gates of another side of Florida's history, French Florida. So, this is the recreation of Fort Caroline. Pretty interesting there. And for anyone who is curious, the time was September 20th, 1564, when Pedro Menendez found out that there was another European power here. That being the French. Pedro Menendez, he did not like this whatsoever. So they came up here, they stormed the fort, and they killed as many people as they could. Now actually, there were a few who managed to survive. They, I think it was about 60 French soldiers that were able to escape Pedro Menendez's wrath and head back to France. Now, after Pedro Menendez was done with this onslaught, he actually left about 50 soldiers behind. And, well, this fort henceforth will be renamed Fort Mateo. Yes, for a very long time this was held as a Spanish settlement. So, if you think about it, the Spaniards, they did not like anyone being on their turf. Hence, everybody died. And here is one, well, recreation or redrawing of Fort Caroline. And what I was reading is the French did eventually get their revenge. You see, about 3 years later, a French, with help from the Timucuan Indians, there was a French militia that came through here and took back Fort Caroline. And in the process, they hanged about 200 Spanish soldiers. So, what they say, what goes around, comes around. So since we walked on one end, let's walk on another, shall we? Because it honestly doesn't look like there is a whole lot of Fort Caroline. Or at least, not a whole lot left of a story. It's a pretty interesting canon. Kind of makes me a little bit baffled by the establishment of the Castillo de San Marcos, which is about 20 miles south of here. Now that one was made out of a substance called coquina. Coquina is, well, a limestone shell mortar mix. Very, very hard, very porous-y. It's kind of why it's lasted as long as it has. And, of course, well, we have another green and knoll. Well, I really don't know what to think about that. Honestly, I thought there maybe would have been a little bit more here, but I'm not complaining. I am thoroughly enjoying myself in this vlog. But yes, you guys, this is Fort Caroline, or at least the site of Fort Caroline. Now, you guys, this is going to be the end for the vlog for today. Remember, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Always means a lot to me, goes to show that y'all care. Makes me only want to keep going further in this channel, in this growth, in this family of mine. Anyway, guys, love y'all very much. Catch y'all in the next vlog. Today's vlog is over.